All right, so we got a very interesting question from one of our Twitter followers.
Sweet.
So he sent us, whoever this guy is, he sent us an article about Steve on the top lane meta. Tanks are straight up too strong. You can't beat them. And so according to him, he's like, oh, with the rise of ADC going top lane, such as Graves, Fiora, and Quinn, they have tanks to deal with them. And like people that can either shut down tanks or people that can, really have like stack armor. Therefore, you get Poppy, Nautilus, Malphite, and Rammus. And then now you're seeing Trundle. Trundle in the top lane or support to deal with the tanks. And the question is, what does that mean for idiots like us in Bronze Elo?
I think it means absolutely nothing to us. As in Bronze Elo, anyone can go off.
Yeah.
Matchups don't matter at all. It's a skill difference between everybody, and every lane is so big. As the person that personally played like 100 games in Bronze, it really doesn't matter. There's no such thing as like a counter pick.
There isn't. Like, you can get counterpicked and still shit on them. Like, Bronze Elo is pretty bad. But in terms of like gameplay and everything like that, once you start playing in higher ranks and everything, you definitely do see it as more prominent. Personally, myself, when I saw, who was it? Was it Freddy? Freddy pulled out the top Rammus in EU, and I started playing top
everyone.
Rammus.
No, it's Viscachi.
No, I think Freddy did the first one.
I'm pretty sure the first one came
Viscachi was second.
I'm pretty sure the first one came in like LCK when the Koreans pulled it out.
Okay,
so,
sure.
Whatever.
But
white people follow
in EU, I think Freddy and Rockets did the first one. And pretty much right after that, I was like, yo, this is amazing. And I started spamming top lane Rammus, and like, it works. I won probably like 85% of my games. Even if you lose your lane early, you're going to shit on people at the end of the game. He's so tanky. You queue up to them, taunt and AD carry. If your Thornmail and your W doesn't kill him, like the rest of your team is going to blow that AD carry up or whatever.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm very impressed by how well you can play Rammus because I don't have the mechanics to really play him.
What do you mean? You hit R.
Exactly. You just
I don't think I can
auto attack W.
I can't hit R fast enough to use his ulti off cooldown.
But it's so funny to play him because you have time to laugh and play at the same time because like you're really not doing anything.
After you hit E, you got nothing else to do.
You have nothing to do, and you just laugh because you're winning. You're like, this shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. Honestly, in our elo, which is like anywhere between low silver to high silver to like really low gold, losing and winning your lane does not translate to losing or winning the game anyways because that's just the way it is. So play whatever you like, and I'm sure you guys will do okay. So I'm a firm believer if you have a game plan, you can just go in and do whatever, and you can still probably end up with a win because whether you win or lose technically isn't up to you. I mean, you should carry and all that kind of crap, but then, let's be real.
At the end of the day, it's going to be based on the macro game. So even if you get shit on your team and everything, or get shit on in your lane, at the end of the game, if you know that you have to get objectives, you have to get turrets and everything like that to win the game, you probably could win the game if your team also sees that as well. But there's tons of games where I'm like carrying or trying to carry as hard as I can, but like people just want to pad their stats and they don't want to take turrets, and we lose because of that.
I think if you want to win in low elo, you just have to play champions with really strong late games because nobody finishes in low elo. Games go to 50 minutes. Play a champion that does well in 50 minutes, and you'll probably win the game.
Really, I actually like playing people with good early games because my goal in playing in low elo is I don't want to get flamed at. If you have a bad early game, people flame at you and they keep flaming at you. But if you do okay in the early game, but you can't carry to win the game in the late game, at least people are not going to flame you. It's like, oh yeah, our bot lane Kog'Maw is feeding really hard, but this Valor's Chewy Quinn top laner is, he did okay early game, so I'm not going to rage at him.
Well, I wouldn't go play a champion that's so shit in the early game like Kog'Maw. I think someone that's okay in the early game but really strong in the late game.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Okay.
I had one game, I played a ranked game earlier today with Sivir where I just got shit on the entire early game as well too. But yeah, late game I just kind of went off on my own, farmed, had the most farm in the game, and the ults and the Qs just did too much damage. We made a comeback and won.
I think if you get dumpstered on early game, even if you end the game with like a really good score, it doesn't feel like you carry because it's like, oh, I somehow picked up kills and I just kind of dicked around and I won the game. But you really have to win the early game to feel like you're actually carrying.
No, I play Tryndamere and I just go.
You just gotta do your job. You just gotta do your job.
I guess a win is a win. No one knows a match history. I guess that's my goal. All right, okay, let's bring this back to the LCS and fantasy a little bit. Are tanks really boring to watch?
To watch, yes. To play, it's a different story when you're playing.
Is it okay to play in fantasy LCS? So if you have like a really prominent tanky top laner such as
Nautilus,
Gamsu, like Gamsu, like he traditionally
or like
plays,
Lorelo, that kind of stuff.
Lorelo, or like even Impact, he's playing a lot of like tanky.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun to watch them at all because they're not really doing anything if they're playing their Nautilus and stuff like that. The kills that they do get are probably because they're getting stuff off tower dives. Yeah. And they win the tower dives, but yeah, it's not super exciting. You're gonna get more excitement out of guys like Huni and Darshan, Soaz, where they're trying to pick fighters and split pushers, right?
All right, so I'm just gonna pull up a little bit of stats from this past split in terms of top laners. The top laner with the most points obviously is Huni, and Huni doesn't play that many top laners. So I guess from a fantasy standpoint, from a fantasy standpoint, you definitely do want to draft a top laner that is more kind of carry oriented, right? So just to review, the top 5 top laners in terms of points scored all split would be Huni number 1, Cabo Shard from Vitality number 2, Otawamne number 3, Kiki's number 4, and Vizichachi number 5.
They're all EU players, by the way.
Except for Huni. Except for Huni.
Except number 1. But I
Seraph is going to be in the top 5. I'm telling you.
But it makes sense, right? As the top laners switch to playing tanks, even Kikas and Vizichachi, they all start scoring a lot less.
Yep.
In the beginning of the split, they were all scoring like in the 40s. In week 9, they're struggling to average like 35.
All right. Also, another thing I would like to point out, which is interesting, is with the exception of Kiki's and Vizichachi, well, I guess Vizichachi too, Cabo Shard, Otawamne, and Vizi, and like I guess number 4 is like Lorelo. Wait, he's actually all the way up there with like he's like top 6.
Lorelo
is
just kill participation, even if they're not getting kills.
Yep. Anyways, bringing back to this, those are very lane swap focused teams. Their top laners are very lane swap focused ones. So do you think that has anything to do with it? Where like lane swaps are always obviously very boring to watch, but in a lane swap the trend is that the AD carry scores very little points, but the top laner scores more. So is it like would you say that sometimes watching a lane swap is boring to watch, but top laners benefit off lane swaps even though they lose out on farm a little bit?
Not if they're playing a tank. They just don't end up doing very much besides like snagging an assist.
Yeah, I think it is just that they make it up by being tanky and getting assists, being involved. So
all right, fair enough. Honestly, I don't like lane swaps. I mean, I understand the strategic significance of lane swaps, but watching lane swaps is kind of boring because you're sitting there waiting for fantasy points, but it's just not happening because no one dies for like a good 15 minutes. But you know what? That's just the way it is.
It's effective.
Yep. But you know what? Screw lane swaps. Screw tanks. I play whatever hell I want in solo queue, and I'm just gonna feed that way. Like screw the tier list. I don't want to learn another champion when I'm good at a shitty one.
Just play Rammus.
Bronze all day, every day.
Bronze all day. I feel I'm proud to be in bronze or like have been in bronze. I think it takes a certain dedication to keep playing even though you're crap at the game.
Thanks for watching 9-Man Report. Leave a comment for what we did well and what we didn't. Like the video, subscribe to our videos, and if you want to watch more, click on the top left.